Okay guys, here's a pair of carburetors. There's going to be nothing detailed about them in this video. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what I know about them. These were the gaskets that we used. They made of rubber. With squiggly lines on them, never saw that before. I've had both carburetors opened. They are different, but they are the same. From what I'm told, they're both 750s. They both had choke horns milled off them. One has straight leg, if you want to call it that, straight booster venturis. One has dog leg. Okay, these are less restrictive, so it flows a little more. These are more restrictive, but a little more sensitive to airflow. So if you have a car that has a very weak signal, these are a little more sensitive to getting fuel down in there. Okay, they've had the vent tubes safety tied, drilled and safety tied on all of them. Whoever did these carburetors, the same guy did both of them. This one here, and we'll start with this one. Okay, this one here, when you take off the base plate and you look inside the venturis, they've been honed. Okay, so there is no lip between the venturi and the base plate when you open it. Okay, but they honed all the way up to right after this curve. It almost looks like a 3-stone hone it was done with. Both of these are done the same way, so someone did that. The squirters are pretty aggressive. They're at 42s, I think. I saw in both of these. This one here originally had flathead screws. They wound up on this one as I was working on it. The carburetors are definitely from the mid to early 80s, that I know. The part number's been milled off them. Okay, but you can still figure out what size they are. When I have them off, I'm gonna mic the bore size so I know exactly what these things are. This one here was set up with a power valve and the 4 jets. Okay, this one here was set up with bigger jets front and rear and no power valve in the front. That's the way they ran this one. Plus this one has some modifications to the metering blocks, big time. Plus I could see the air bleed right here is opened up on the primaries. On this one you can see it's smaller on the secondaries. You can compare it to that. Okay, I do see some passages that are drilled, but to see how much they're drilled, you actually have to take off the blocks again, and you have those 4 Welch plugs. You got to pull out the outer Welch plugs and go down inside, because there's a bore that goes down, a tube, an orifice, and you have to see if somebody drilled that out, because that's what you drill out for E85, and that's what you drill out for alcohol, and depending on how big it's drilled out. But they weren't running a power valve on this one, so the 2 holes behind the power valve circuit are unaltered. So usually when it gets a little complicated, when you open up the holes in the bottom, if you follow this down inside the bottom of the metering plate, okay, that richens it so you can get a richer idle other than using your screws. Okay, when you drill out these holes, it actually leans it so you can get a leaner idle. And sometimes you put the screws all the way in and you still can't lean it enough. When you do them in combination, it delays the booster venturis, so when it gets the signal, it actually delays the fuel coming out. And I see when you put this all together with the bigger jets, the no power valve to compensate, this opened up, that opened up on the 42 squirters. The 42 squirters are because there's a delay here. Plus the machine bores. Somebody spent a lot of time on that carburetor. This one here, these look like they're open slightly. Okay, I didn't get too much into the metering blocks, but a quick look by eye, I didn't see alterations, but I have to look back at those. And like I said, this one has big squirters. The venturis are honed. Both of these carburetors are running 30cc accelerator pumps. So, because a lot of times when you start to see the big squirties, you start to see a 50 on one of them, whatever it is. Accelerator pumps are actually out of it right now. There's no diaphragms in there. As well as most of the gaskets I pulled out of these while I was in there. These things have, you can see they're clean. 30 years plus shelf oxidation on them is what it is. They were definitely used. They're definitely on the car. But they're not, like I said in a video I didn't post, you can see how clean they are. They're not shed oxidized. These were sitting on a shelf. These were sitting on a shelf at Richie Zool's shop. They were bought by my friend. My friend bought a blower from them. Okay, and these really weren't intended for the blower, but my friend picked up the two carburetors, obviously, because they are different. They're not matching carburetors. They're not even blower carburetors. But supposedly they're 750s, and it only has a 2 idle circuit on these. Doesn't have it back here, which is very common on an old school carburetor. You look up a 750 now, the majority of them have a 4th corner, just like the shiny one for Junior's car. So, needle seats have been changed on this. Okay, and that's it. Other parts missing, they're both missing the link to open the 4 barrels. So, they must have been robbed while they were sitting there for who knows what project. They claimed that these things have been sitting there forever, and I believe it. Like I said, you can see the dates inside here. Definitely from the early 80s, plus another way to date at least the bowls. You could date everything just by looking at it. We could round it off by the word Holley or not Holley and stuff like that. But these are the accelerator pumps with a little spring and the check ball. Not like the ones you've seen me do so far with a little rubber diaphragm. So these are old school, both of them. So, that's it. Sooner or later we will get into a video on these. The price is more than realistic for the pair of these. I told the guy I wanted to go through them before I paid him. He has no problem with that. So I gave him a basic look over at work. Tore them down real quick just to make sure nothing is destroyed. I always hesitate on modified carburetors, but these modifications don't look amateur. These modifications look pretty advanced. So this one looks like it was on, I mean, from what I know about the modifications, looking at it, this would have been on a small cubic inch, really nasty radical motor. So say it all out like 327 or 350. Okay, that's why the power valves disappeared to help with the idle. That's why the stuff was drilled out. That's why it's got the super sensitive straight booster venturis. There's straight booster venturis. There's straight truck booster venturis, which look like this on the top and the bottoms flare out. Okay. And there's the dog leg. And there's those annular discharge ones, which are even bigger. So depending on what you're doing. So like I said, that's what I think this was on. I think this one was on another probably pretty nasty motor, but tamer than that one. Just by my guess so far. And it's nice they got the jet size marked on this one, so when this one starts the jets in it and everything. So if you ran 83s front and rear and you left the power valve, you would definitely be running 85 or something in here. Not alcohol. Alcohol is 100 and up. A 750 would probably be about 110 on the jet size. This would have came like 71, 80, somewhere in that zone. That's why the back is pretty close to original, but this one's up all those sizes to compensate for no power valve, which isn't the best for the street, but for all out drag racing, this is the way to go. There's some circuits in the carburetor you just blow right through. You know what I mean? You're not using the cruise circuit and some of the intermediate circuits and transition slots and some of the things you're not really spending a lot of time in when you're moving the car. So, but with that said, we'll get into these. Just remember, guys, I'm not a carburetor guy. Oh wait, I'm not a body guy either. That must be something. At least I'm a guy.